Elise here, she, her, hers, and what measures will you take to ensure a successful collab? Because, for instance, the ice skating collab with SWE only had 3 attendees from the collaborating club, and it turns out they didn't emphasize the collab as much on their end.
So for a successful collab, I feel like it's like number one priority, of course, is communication with a partner organization that you're going to be having it with. So like letting them know, like, oh yeah, like updating them, saying like, oh yeah, I already told my Fusion my general members like just this Wednesday, I announced the meeting. Like, how's yours going? So it's basically like trying to catch up or like see how they're doing. So it's like a checking up on each other, but in more of a casual way. I feel is like a good way to make sure that there's a good attendance. And then of course, yeah, like one of the things too for a successful collaboration is with a social director. And I feel like pretty so far, like the collaborations we've had were pretty good in terms of the social activities that were planned. So yeah, I feel like maintaining that good communication with a social director and then having like being on the same page is really important.
Yeah, communication is definitely key. But I also think that another factor is respect from the other board. If they see you as just like a nuisance, you know, messaging them, hey, how's the pubbing out going? Hey, how's this pubbing out going? They're going to start getting annoyed. I think having a good relationship with them, you know, beforehand could definitely help. If you message them, they'll be like, you know, I like this guy, I don't want to let him down. So I think respect also goes a long way.
Thank you.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Ayana again, she, her, hers. So this question is going to go specific into relations with Alianza. So as external vice president, you are in charge of dealing with relationships with the other Alianza orgs, since Fusion is under the Alianza umbrella org in the Cross Cultural Center. So how will you go about ensuring that Fusion's name and its club is heard throughout the other clubs without going as far as crossing a line of being, I guess, annoying about it, if that makes sense?
So I feel like with the board members, like it's a responsibility to pub out like Fusion's events. So it's just to try to get the name out there. That's already a pretty good step, I feel. It's also just like so we have like a couple members here in Fusion that cross between like Fusion and Fusion and Puso, Fusion and Kaba. So it's also that's like a sign that these things are working out, and like pubbing out is actually kind of works. And so yeah, I feel like just advertising as much as you can about the events you're having, and then talking about it with your friends is a really good way to get Fusion's name out there.
Yeah, that was basically what I was gonna say. Just pub it out. You could also pub it out, not as an announcement, but as just a casual conversation with them. So as to seem like it isn't just annoying, or it isn't just an agenda. You know, you're trying to, establish that relationship, and hopefully they'll give back by listening to what you're pubbing out.
Okay, thank you.
Problem.
I had a question. Hi, it's Ian. Pronouns he, him, his. Since we're all college students, and you are also college students, and being a board member takes up a lot of time, you probably won't be able to spend time with all the clubs that you are planning on spending, going to meetings and getting to know. So do you have certain priorities or certain clubs that you were going to prioritize getting to know better, either to like steer Fusion toward one aspect of its like identity, like more time spent with Filipino or cultural clubs or other clubs for engineering or STEM majors or whatnot.
So I feel like it's good to maintain the good relationship Fusion has with Alianza orgs. So like more, yeah, like the collabs we have with past, those were really nice. Wait, can you repeat your question?
Basically, like what clubs do you want to prioritize spending more time with and getting to know better in your time as EVP?
Yeah. So I feel like it's also with Alianza orgs. I feel like I would prioritize relations with the smaller ones. So like PAS, PUSO, and PAS and PUSO, the smaller ones. So it's like a more tight knit club as well, similar to Fusion. So they have like the same dynamic, I'd say. So it's a little more it's a little more fitting, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my main plan was to prioritize, as RJ said, the smaller orgs. Specifically, I believe it was Puso that we didn't have that good of relations with. Maybe start that up, I would say. Of course, yeah, maintaining all the other ones, but I think Puso is important to start up because they are also underneath the Alianza umbrella. Yeah. Hopefully that answered it.
It did. Thank you.
Oh, hi, I'm back. I'm asking a lot of questions, sorry. But Jiggles Jimenez, he, him is. So what would you want to learn more about of the EVP position? Like, what do you want to do more of next year versus this year? It's a critique me question.
You want me to start?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. Honestly, Nick, you did a very great job as EVP. I think you established a lot of great relations. Just looking at past, I was doing my research. I was looking at past EVP EVP platforms, and just based on what their goals were and what you accomplished, I think you did a very great job. I think one of the main things addressed, the main point of my platform was the fact that while you did establish connections, not a lot of them were as strong as maybe you would hope to be. So I really want to plan on gaining their friendship in a way that they'll basically respond with the same respect as we would if we asked them for maybe a collab or general activity and such.
Yeah, I feel like you did a really good job with communicating like the things from a meeting with Sai, meetings with Alianza to like the Fusion board. And I feel like I'd like to keep that up because yeah, like I said before, communication is a really huge deal. So just having that to follow in the footsteps of is a good bar for me to reach. I'd also like to see like I said in my speech a while ago, like a more involvement with P Council. So like at least with like one organization, that's already a pretty good accomplishment. Just having that relationship outside of Filipino clubs and more towards an engineering club, at least one, would be a pretty huge deal, I'd say. Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any more questions? We have time for one or two more.
I have another question, unless if someone's really dying on the inside to ask.
Go ahead.
Okay, so again, with being external vice president, you do handle collabs with the other organizations, whether it be with Alianza or with engineering clubs. So with collabs, they typically have the trend of having lower general member attendance. So how do you plan on getting general members involved in not only in Fusion, but also in the other participating party? Period.
So with Fusion, general member attendance, I feel like I'd want to know like what kind of meeting they want to have with the collab. So do they want more of like a engineering side or engineering application or more of a cultural meeting? So I feel like just having that input from general members is already a good step into trying to get as many general members as you can to the collab. With a partner collab club. So yeah, just like the same thing. It's basically checking up on them, like, oh yeah, do you have any idea of like how many people are gonna go? And like, oh yeah, have you told them, pubbed out to your members that this is what the time is gonna be, like the place and what time? So yeah, it's just basically checking up on each other with the other partner EVP counterpart.
Yeah, I was basically going to say the same thing. Just communicate and pubbing out to both sides, asking for input from general members, and as well as the board, see what their interests are and maybe format it as based on what everyone else wants in a way. Yeah, I think RJ answered that really well, so I have nothing else to say.
Okay, thank you.